You are welcome back to this data analytics course for SDSC 2026. The last time we talked about uh, data types and the very different type of variables that we have. We talked about dictionary, tuples, list, and others, and we did a little mini exercise. But today, in this video, we're going to start with conditional statements. Well, this is a very important aspect as well. Um, Conditional statements are used for decision making. Typically, yeah, I'll just keep it as simple as that. Uh, it allows the program to make decisions. Uh, it actually uses true or false evaluation to branch to a particular decision. You're going to see it as we go in the lesson. Um, let's take, for example, if a number is divisible by 2, as soon as the conditional statement, as soon as the statement is met or is true, then it should just tell us like the number is even, or otherwise it should output odd. So the if statement is the basic form. It is used to evaluate a condition. It's just like a normal conversation that we make every day. If it rains today, I'll take my umbrella, right? Uh, so uh, it is used to check if a particular value is met, then the program should print out a particular statement which we're going to specify. So so if that condition is true, the indented code block underneath it runs. So this is what we mean by the code block underneath it. This is the statement, the if statement, if it is true. So now let's take it from the beginning. Let's say the variable that we have here is temperature, and we have assigned 30 degrees to it. And now we say if temperature is greater than 25, our program should print it is hot day. You remember this thing I said? Like if you quote a particular text, it will just see it as a text, and it just print it out as a textual value, not gonna throw you an error. So here it is a hot day. Because this condition is met, 25 is greater than 30. By the way, this is the greater than, the way to represent greater than. We also have less than. We have less than or equal to. I believe we are familiar with all those logics. Um, so the condition temperature greater than 25 evaluates true. That's why the code block below it got printed out. Well, FYI, your this Python statement uses a particular how would I call it, like a indentation to show. Yeah, sorry about that. So Pythons typically use indentation. Indentation is this small space here just to know which code belongs to the statement. So anytime we have an indentation, this indentation shows that this code block here belongs to this statement. That means the only time this code block runs is whenever this statement is true. So assuming this statement doesn't evaluate true, then this code block fails to run. So let's go through to the next one, the else statement. The else statement provides an alternative. That is, it runs only if the condition is false. So let's say, for example, age is equal to 20, and if age is greater than or equal to 18, it prints this. You can vote. But if it's if this condition evaluates to false, it will jump off this because it doesn't evaluate true. It will not print this code block. Then it will go to the next one. The else statement just gives a statement like an alternative statement in which if the previous code block fails or returns false, then it should just print how this. So let's say the age of the person is 12. Let's run this. So you see this now. If the age is 12, if age is 12, then the person should not vote. If age is greater than 18, print this, else print this. So that is how to use the else statement. Another example is here. When we assign a number 7 to a variable called number, then we say if this is modulus, by the way, this is modulus. Modulus means after we do our division, uh, the remainder of the division is the modulus. So here, if number modulus 2 equals 0, this is a comparison statement. This is not an assignment statement, comparison. So if after we divide number by 2, the remainder equals, or the remainder is compared to 0 is 0, then we say the number is even. Else, if the remainder is not equals to 0, that means if it has a remainder, then we say it's odd number. So here we believe 7 is odd number because when we divide 7 by 2, we have a remainder which is 1. 7 divided by 2 is 3, remainder 1. So at this point, this number is not even. It's going to jump off this code block and it's going to print this code block. So 7 is odd. This odd here is just a text. You see, we wrap it around a quotation mark. So these are very important things to note. Don't worry, the notebook is going to be shared. You can play around with it, and you can also establish by starting your own notebook from scratch. Type it out one after the other, understand how indentation works in Python, and from there you can go on. So there's another one called the else if statement. So this is when you have multiple possibilities. You can use else if. Previously we used only else, but what if we have multiple possibilities? What if this is not the final code block that we should have in this statement? What if we have multiple possibilities? Then that is when you use else if. So it allows us to check multiple specific conditions in the order that we have placed it in the code blocks. Python will stop checking as soon as it finds out if 1 is true. Let's take, for example, we have a different score range here. If score is greater than 90, it should print out A. Else, if score is greater than or equal to 80, it should print out B. So when you say greater than or equal to, it means 90 to 90 90, 91, 92, 93, and above. So it starts from 90 because there's equal to there. If it's just greater than, then if it's just greater than, we just start from 91. We exclude 90, but this is inclusive. So here also we say else if score is greater than this, greater than or equal to 80, it should print something. I don't want to go through this. I've given you the pseudocode sort of here that you can use to write your mini exercise. So remember, instead of else if, instead of else, you should use else if when you have multiple possibilities. So mini exercise, you can just go pause the video, go on this and do this exercise, change the value of score and print a simple grade. So let's say um, so let's say um, you have the score to be okay. Let me just give you the opportunity to go on this. We'll discuss about it if you are. I don't want to give you heads up. Oh, I already did. Sorry about that. But yeah, you can pause it and we will start from the next from here in the next when you come back. Welcome back. So we have score is equal to 85. The first thing is to do your assignments. Assign it as 85. Then if score is greater than or equal to 90, you print this. See the indentation is here. If is greater than or equal to 80, print this. Else if is greater than or equal to 70, print this. So you can run this and see that this person is in B because the person is between 80 and 89. If we say 89 here, what do you think it's going to give us? Still B. So as soon as you get to 90, it should jump to A. So that is just a mini exercise about conditional statements and control logic. Well, let's move to the next one. The loop. Loop repeats action. That is just as simple as that. Loop repeats action. It is used when you want to, when you know how many times you to repeat a particular action. So now loop is done using range. Usually when we have a range usually what do I there it is. So imagine you want to repeat a particular number or a particular action multiple times, like say 10,000 times. You don't want to be typing it out one after the other. You can use range since you know the specific number. Like let's say if we have for high in range 5, so high is a variable which we're going to assign a number to it whenever we are iterating over the range. In range 5, print I equals I. So by the way, the last time we talked, we said Python starts from 0, right? So range in Python, range starts counting from 0 as well. And it is it is not inclusive. That is, it doesn't count up to the number that we place there. So actually, because we started from 0, we are not expecting to have 5 here because already we have 5 iterations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we started from 0. So that is a little bit about loops. And we also look through list. Looping through list is a very important mechanism, techniques that we're going to use subsequently. Take, for example, you have minion items in your list, and you want to print each of them. You don't want to go through it one after the other. You just use this method, create the list, and say for fruits, this fruit it could be anything. It could be X, it could be Y, this is just a variable that we're going to assign the values of the list to. So for fruit in fruit, print fruit. Say you have apple, banana. So you can also say for X, this is a variable, or this is also a variable that has been assigned. But this is a variable that we can assign, that we will assign the numbers or the list that we are iterating over. So in this case, we are iterating over apple, banana, orange. For X in fruit, print fruit. So we have to say print X. I'm just trying to change the variable so that you understand how this thing operates. You see? So that is looping through a list. We've talked about range, we talked about loop in a list using in for high in range, for X in fruits, print X. So the last one is while loop. You use while loop when you want to repeat until a condition becomes false. So the first thing is to establish the variable and assign it to a value. Then you say why the condition is still less than, the variable condition is less than 5. Print, keep printing. So in this case, you have to add, you have to iterate and add to the value of count. Initially, we initialize it as 0. But now we have to, at every point that we are iterating while loop, we have to add 1 to it so that it will not enter into an infinite loop. Because if we just say while count is less than 5 and 0 is always less than 5, it will keep counting. So we want to add 1 to it. Anytime it completes this print, this first print, it adds 1 to count before it goes back to here to check the value of count. Then when it checks the value of count, if it sees that it's still less than 5, it prints this again, adds 1. So we've got 1 here. Then the next one, it adds again 1 until it is 4. When count is less than 5, why count rather, sorry, I mixed it up. Why count is less than 5? The moment count is still less than 5, it should continue printing. But the moment it goes past or equals to 5, it should stop counting. So this is basically the fundamental or basics about loops, iteration, and control conditional logics. Please go through it critically. And I'll see you in the next video. If you have any question, please put it in the WhatsApp group. By the way, this is just an introduction to Python. Going forward, the end goal is for you to be able to understand how this thing works. Just not for you to fully dive deep and get the nitty-gritty right now, but we just want you to have a feel of how it works because the end goal is for you to be able to understand how models are built. We want to be using the model in automation in the final classes. Thank you so much. I know for now it's going to be very looks difficult or something, especially if you're a first time person trying Python and so on. But don't worry, this is just an introduction, and make sure you do your exercise, do your assignment, and push any question on the WhatsApp. Thank you for your time today again, and I really appreciate your efforts. I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you.